Hello, everybody. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. Man, breaking news that I had to react to, and I wanted to react live with you because there's not much news here. So I want to speculate, and I want your comments. So get involved. We're live here for a few minutes to talk about this story because this is truly a shocker. I don't think a lot of people saw this coming, and it just proves how much fake news is out there. Fake movie news. Like, we don't really know until it's confirmed, and now it's been confirmed. Guys, if you haven't heard this, this is legit. This is coming from the people themselves. Disney and Sony have struck a deal for one more movie. Not only that, they've talked about the fact that they are going to do Spider-Man will be able to appear in one more movie in Marvel. So it's not just a movie for Sony, it's also a movie for Marvel. So they've given each other one more opportunity. So this is very telling. But before we go, and I want to get your comments there, I'm looking at your feedback, but let's actually go through this because this is sort of breaking, and I know a lot of you sort of haven't seen this story yet. Let's read this together because to me, this is pretty monumental for Marvel and Sony to have pulled off, and means a lot of strings had to have been pulled behind the scenes. Business maneuvers were happening. I mean, I think a lot of us saw this coming at some point, but I'm a little shocked it happened like this quickly, and I'm wondering if it's connected to the Star Wars news, my tinfoil hat conspiracy jumps, and we'll get into that in a minute. But let's just go through this article because I do think this is important. And the Hollywood Reporter seems to have broke this, but they did a statement. Marvel and Sony did a joint statement that they're talking about. So here we go. Two studios are once again working together for a film that will bring Tom Holland's superhero back to the big screen. After publicly parting ways over a deal gone south, they're back at the table and have struck a deal that would see Marvel produce another Spider-Man film. This film will have a release date of July 16th, 2021. So pretty quickly. I'm thrilled that Spidey's journey in the MCU will continue, and I and all of us at Marvel Studios are very excited that we get to keep working on it, said Marvel topper Kevin Feige. Spider-Man is a powerful icon and a hero whose story crosses all ages and audiences around the globe. He also happens to be the only hero with the superpower to cross cinematic universes. So as Sony continues to develop their own Spideyverse, you never know what surprises the future might hold. What? I mean, come on, guys. This is weird. All right, but let's keep going. Also, as part of the arrangement, Spider-Man will appear in a future Marvel movie. In 2015, they unveiled an unprecedented intra-studio partnership that produced not only this is where we're summing up what happened, but the co-parenting deal fell apart not too long after, spilling into the open, blah, blah, blah. Terms of the deal were not revealed, but it will allow Marvel and its chief Feige to produce and run Creative Point on one more movie that would star Tom Holland, the actor who is the current incarnation of the web-slinger superhero. Depending on how things go, more movies could be in the offing. Partnership between Sony and Marvel have been fruitful, obviously, yada, yada, yada. There was plenty of incentive to drive the two sides to return shared revenue at the box office receipts, notwithstanding the success of Spider-Man also drives other lanes. This is true. Sony, for example, has a slate of Spider-Man-centric characters that are in early stages of getting their own movies, with Venom already a hit and sequel to start shooting in November. Morbius, no one cares about Morbius. Character in post-production, set for 2020. The slate has benefited from Spider-Man's popularity. There's also Sony's Spider-Man game, which is the most more popular game in circulation. Meanwhile, Marvel gets to keep capitalizing on merchandise. Don't forget that, guys. Marvel owns the toy rights. So while we see these movies, the toy rights are big money, and they get to provide, obviously, revenue for Marvel, even though Sony's making these movies. Sony doesn't make any dollars off of those toys. So it is always in Marvel's best interest to sort of figure out a way to make the deal work. But perhaps more importantly, it gets to keep creative control over its most popular character, something it did not have during the years that saw the studio, run by Amy Pascal, make critically maligned movies. There was a quote by her. Let me see if Variety calls it, because I saw, I'm thrilled. Where is the, Pascal was equally euphoric in her statement. "This is terrific," she said. "Peter Parker's story took a dramatic turn Far From Home. I could not be happier. We will all be working together to see where this journey goes." So both Sony, and it's weird, Hollywood Reporter didn't even quote Amy or Sony. But guys, this is unprecedented because Gabe, thank you. Happy Friday, brother. Much love and go Spidey. Thank you. Get your comments read if you support the channel. I appreciate that. Thanks for the love, Gabe. I want to just say, though, this is unprecedented because, look, let's go back to what happened, right? Sony and Marvel couldn't agree on this term. I believe that was real. And I always sided with Sony. Early on, I sided with Sony, and I think people were so aggressively against the idea of, no, you can't do this, that people didn't understand. Like, Sony was doing proper business. They didn't owe Marvel anything. They bought that character, and Marvel has had sour grapes since because they gave away a crown jewel in their Marvel library. And it's a character that can sort of share the mask and take it over. So it's just a huge, problem for Marvel to not own Sony. So when I saw Marvel like trying to be a bully in that whole situation, and I feel like they did leak that conversation. They were just trying to get Sony to have to pony up to like pay because the fan outrage was so massive. But Sony did the right thing, and they're like, screw yeah, I'm not giving you that money. Sony totally stepped up and was like, forget this. We own this character. Don't forget it. We control Spider-Man. And doesn't mean we don't want to work with you, as proven here. Hello, Sony clearly wasn't holding out. I would have thought Sony would have been the one holding out. So if anything, I see this behind the scenes as Marvel making the gesture, not Sony. Sony didn't need this. Sony had plenty to do. That's my take on this. I think Sony absolutely played ball. They played hardball. They were open to negotiation. This proves it. Everybody who has been crapping on Sony, I think, has unfairly been doing so, because in this deal, this proves Marvel came back to the table. Marvel said they wouldn't. Marvel said, we're done. That was all the rumors and all the speculation and everything that was said. This is crazy because Marvel came to the table saying like, nope, we want it. We want more money. And so he's like, screw you. And it's like, I'm on board with Sony. Now, I'm not on board with Morbius and some of the things that Sony seems to have on deck. But I applaud Sony for holding out, and they clearly were at deals at the table. They were ready to make the deal. So kudos to them. I think we're all happy now. And what's more interesting about this speculation is obviously this. Like, we've been talking about this last night. I did a story about it. And I made a story about Spider-Man yesterday that now doesn't hold up as well because... But I think it all meshes together. It's all connected, whether you want to admit it or not. Because Feige now being like, I'm going to go do Star Wars, and the excitement there's more excitement there because Star Wars doesn't have a vision. Let's be clear. And Bob Iger's new autobiography coming out and just throwing shade at Lucas unnecessarily is only tainting the whole process. Jeremy Johns did a fantastic video summing this all up. You should go support and watch that because he couldn't have said it any better. It was just this disgusting move on Iger's part to have dropped his memoir to call out the disrespect to Lucas that, yeah, we didn't take any of his ideas. We didn't use anything, but we promised to honor his characters, but yeah, we didn't really do that, did we? We didn't even put them together in the movie. To release that memoir and that realization a month or two before the final Star Wars, so we can all sit there and go, yeah, this isn't what he wanted. This, you know what? This isn't very good. It's mind-blowing how stupid Disney and Iger have been. And this Spider-Man deal, and I think leaking it publicly, and then now he's with Star Wars. I don't know. This all seems like they're trying to save face. They're all trying to save face is how I read all this information. Just because Disney's the big powers that be doesn't mean they don't make mistakes and they don't really want to control the narrative. And I think when that Sony thing happened, they lost some footing. They absolutely lost some footing because people weren't as like, yeah, whatever Disney says, we support it. I mean, there were fanboys who did that. Marvel fanboys who are just going to say whatever Marvel says, they will support. Just like Star Wars fanboys who will just say they like everything. And as even Jeremy and others have said, we've all come to the conclusion, there's a difference between fans and fanboys because fanboys love it all and will just demonize you if you don't. And fans will be like, yeah, I like it, but I have criticism. Can we talk about it? And that's the difference. And there's this weird break-in on the internet of fandom's taken over, and it makes my mind blowing. I want to make this channel welcome. I'm going to do a live stream on Sunday to make an announcement. I'm trying to make this happen. I want to try and create a new place where we can all not fall for clickbait, not be such fanboys, have real civil conversations, but also say whatever the hell we want, but just have just realism and genuineness. Genuineness is so important. And in this moment, I think that Disney's genuineness, they have none. They're a corporate structure that's BS that tried to steamroll Sony, and they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. And so the fact that they've not managed to make this happen pleases the fans, pleases everybody happy, and we get to see now a trilogy of the Spider-Man world do it. Now, this comment of Feige sort of, because Feige, whether you like him or not, dude, I respect Feige tremendously. He knows how to play ball, and he is just controlling this narrative like no other. The fact that he is able to sort of show up and just take over Star Wars, and everyone's just like loving him for it, like, dude, that is impressive. And he does, and they don't have to push out Kathleen Kennedy because I don't believe anyone actually wants to do that, even though they may behind the scenes. That's not good optics. But this is a way for them to sort of like have to deal with it. And Iger's going to have to like play the parent to both of these amazing execs who are now like have to jockey for who's in control. And it's going to be a fascinating, drama-filled next few years as we watch all this go down. But this move of Disney and Marvel uniting to me is Disney realizing, all right, we got it. Let's give them something. Let's show we're not being a bully here. Let's make a move. Let's give the fans what they want. Let's bring Spider-Man back home and just work with Sony. It is what it is. And to Feige's credit, look at him. He also happens to be the only one with the superpower across cinematic universes. So as Sony continues to develop their own Spideyverse, you never know what surprises the future might hold. Look, he's being smart. He's not trying to take over Kathleen Kennedy's job. He's not trying to be like, screw Sony. Feige's it's like a master class in how to be a smart and collaborative businessman where you're in charge and then you don't just try and take all the credit. Who knows how he is behind the scenes, but you come across publicly, your optics are in control where you look like the good guy. And that is just such a smart way to do it. As someone who had exec experience, I didn't always follow that lead, and it was part of my downfall. But when you can I tried my best, but sometimes the emotion, the power, it all gets to your head. And Feige is doing it masterfully. I still believe he's enjoying the power, of course, but he's playing the chessboard well, and he's making it open ended. Like, look, I have no problem with Sony's Spider-Verse, and you never know what the future holds. It just shows he's open, right? It doesn't show he's being difficult. Whereas Disney and Sony were the ones that seemed difficult. Feige gets to come through unscathed and say, I'm involved. So anyway, there's a lot going on. I saw some of you send some chats in, so I want to get your thoughts heard. Win City, here's some love, Andy. Thanks for breaking the story. Thank you, Win City, for that support. That's what keeps this channel moving. I love it. Thank you so much for sending that over. Emmanuel, will Venom be part of the MCU with this news? It's a very good question. I mean, I think Venom 2 will decide that, right? I mean, Venom 2 is going to be the make or break on whether we actually care about Venom. I think Venom brought together this idea of, okay, they can make this anti-hero. Venom's a cool enough character, and they got Tom Hardy, who, come on, he was great. The movie itself had serious flaws, but the parts with Hardy yelling at Venom, like, I was into it. I was having it. And so I'm all for that. And if now that with bringing Woody Harrelson in, and they clearly, I hope, with Andy Serkis, they're going to, that's an actor's director. They're going to let Hardy have a little bit more say, and they're going to let him chew the scenery more, have fun. And if they do that, Venom 2 could be a hit. And then I think Sony's starting to create properties that Marvel's like, all right, I see what you're doing there. I like that. Let's do that. That's the only way this happens. If they do Madam Web and Morbius and those movies suck, which is very likely, their stock's going to go down and they're going to need Marvel then. Right now they don't. They're in this place with the Spider-Verse and Venom. And as I said in my Spider-Man video last night, I don't want the all-female Spider-Verse, and that's not, I want a Gwen Stacy movie. Yes, Spider-Gwen. Like, let's do that. But when they call it the all-female Spider-Verse, that's just stupid. Of course I want females in the project, but don't just call it that. Call it Spider-Gwen, the movie, and then put some other females in it. When they just try to make it diverse just because by calling it all female, that's, to me, is the bad move. Normalize it by just putting all females in it and don't address it. But Marvel's starting to do that a lot, where they have to announce their diversity hires, and I think that is where people have trouble. I have no problem with diversity in Marvel, but I think a lot of people have a problem with diversity being told, we see how diverse we are. Look how diverse we are. That's the problem. And that's what I think a lot of people have trouble with, like, and people get deemed racist or not part of the team. But it's like, no, bring diversity. All about diversity. But don't try and like take credit for it. Like, one of the stupidest things the Russos did was that stupid cameo where he played the gay character in that support group. No problem with the scene. It was a little weird. What the problem was Russo was like hyping it as the first openly homosexual character in the MCU. Played by him. It was just so, come on. Don't call it out for what it is. That's the reality, right? So all-female Spider-Verse is what they're sort of having touted as coming. No, I want a Spider-Gwen. I want a Miles. I want Spider-Verse to translate into live action. I want you to take advantage of this universe you built and whatever characters are most interesting, do it. I would rather a Spider-Ham movie than see Morbius. Who's with me? Come on. It's crazy. But my point is, Venom has potential. We won't know until Venom 2 happens. And currently, Sony's slate by saying Morbius, Madam Web, Venom 2, all-female Spider-Verse, I don't know. I don't think they're going the right way. That's not a vision. That's just keywords, buzzwords, trying to please fans. And they need a visionary, like a Feige, someone to come in. Lord and Miller, whoever was in charge of Spider-Verse, bring them in. Let's create a vision so we can make this work. Because currently, I don't think they have it. The Big Red Bear, I love it. They're all soulless companies, but Sony was in the right here. Disney tried to screw them, didn't even offer the reach around. I agree. We're on the same page there. I think what Sony did was actually the right move. They came out winners in this. And notice, they didn't make a deal forever. Sony wisely was like, we'll give you one more. All right, you want Spidey? Sure. Because when Spidey shows up in Marvel movies, that only helps Sony. It only helps Sony. It's like, who cares? Let Tom Holland and the character thrive and be happy to be in the world. And yeah, you get some revenue, you get to do it. And then people want to come see your Spider-Man movies and Venom and everything else. So letting Marvel take him is almost like a give to Sony. It's a billboard for Sony's property that they own. And so that's a huge give to Sony. So Marvel getting them, they should let Marvel have them whenever they want. But letting Marvel control Sony's movies and take more money, that's what this is about, guys. And so the fact that Sony let Feige come in means they made a deal here that's fair for both parties. That's not a ton of money, but something where they're like, yeah, step in line, Marvel. You don't own us all. You don't own us all, Disney. You do not own Sony, and we should be supportive of that. We should embrace and we should clap for Sony for being the right people here, holding their ground and making this happen, because that's the real story here. The fact that Sony allowed this to happen when they didn't need to. Right now, all of people get me so crazy because they're like, who cares about, whether, of course, Marvel needs Sony. No, they don't. They don't need Spider-Man, rather. They have their own thing right now. Spider-Verse, Venom, and Tom Holland doing a Spider-Man movie. People are going to see it. They have the control right now. But everyone's giving me crap because I'm saying Phase 4 looks boring. It does. And yes, I've said this before, it's not going to make as much money. It's just not. Is it going to make boatloads of money? Yes. But people don't get it. Disney isn't like Lionsgate. It's not even like Sony or Universal. Disney is now a huge conglomerate company that requires $1 billion a movie. It requires $1 billion movies or they don't see it as a hit. They want to build franchises. They don't want to build movies. They want to build franchises that can sell figures, that can launch streaming spin-offs, that can launch cartoon shows and be on Pampers and grapes. Avengers was all over the place. They want that. And if the characters they launch and spend all their energy on does not bring $1 billion, it is not going to, it is still going to make money. Of course, make 800 million, 700 million, but that's not going to be a hit to the board members. Because you got to remember, every company, every CEO has a boss. The board wants money, and they want what they made with Black Panther, what they made with Endgame. They now expect that on everything. And so the slate that Phase 4 is presenting, Eternals, come on. That's not going to make $1 billion. I will eat my words. I will apologize. This is my opinion. I do not believe that's going to make $1 billion. It's a new thing. We don't know. Even Guardians took some time to gather steam. The point is, I don't see that one coming. So all the movies that are on that deck, Doctor Strange 2, come on. That's not going to make a ton of money. It's going to do fine, but that's what the point. Marvel needs Spider-Man more than Sony needed Marvel. That Phase 4, Phase 5 desperately needs Spider-Man. So to now know that Marvel has a Spider-Man card that they can play in that Phase 4 lineup and do Spider-Man and whoever it is, that's going to create interest. That's going to make more box office dollar. I mark my words. So I'm trying to read a lot of comments coming in. Thank you for sending there. But I see that a lot of you are excited. You're happy he's in this universe. And I'm happy too. I think we all win in this scenario. And so now they all get to make money. They all get to do. But let's see what happens next, because I like that Sony only did this for one movie. They didn't just make a blanket deal saying, fine, let's do, yeah, great, we're in bar. Because Sony wants to control Venom. Marvel doesn't want to control Venom. Sony wants to be like, Marvel, I'm not checking with you every time I make a movie. And that Sony shouldn't. But then the problem is Venom in that universe? Where Sony's going to fail, and mark my words here too, where Sony will fail is making a Madam Web movie, which is what now Collider announced yesterday is in the works. That is the wrong move, Sony. You need to be really smart and careful on who you launch as standalone projects, and they need to be made by people who are excited about those projects. Ryan Coogler, Black Panther, is the perfect example. It's come out. Iger's book has finally admitted some execs at Marvel didn't want to make that movie. They were worried. And then Bob Iger saying it, and Feige said it, that they were giving they were like, no, leave him alone, make the movie. The point is, I believe in Coogler made that Black Panther work because he was a fan of the material, because he wanted to, because he had a vision. That's when it works. You got to bring on directors, writers who are fans of the source material, who have a vision so they can come through and do it. Not just hire people because, and here's what it is, and hiring writers to make a Madam Web movie. That's the wrong mistake. It should be blank writer came in pitching Madam Web movie that blew our minds. It was like Inception. then that's the narrative Sony should be doing, because then we're like, okay, cool. Oh, he or she was excited about that. Oh, they're going with like Inception vibes and a Spider-Man version. Cool. But this idea of them hiring out multiple fancy, expensive writers to make anti-hero movies on standalone because Venom worked is a bad move. It's a bad move. They have a lot of good characters that they can still exploit and use that I think we all want to see. Who do you want to see? Tell me as we wrap up. What Spider-Man villain or standalone Spider-Man character that's not part of Marvel do you think Sony should do? Because Kraven, that's not a movie. Madam Web, that's not a movie. There's so many in that list of like the ones they've been working on that. Morbius? What are they doing with Morbius? I mean, is anyone excited for Jared Leto to play the living vampire? That just sounds so dumb. Devin says, Helen Mirren for Madam Web in the Spider-Verse. Come on. Do you really want a Madam Web movie? Even you, Devin. I don't buy it. Thank you for the comment. Windy City, again, you know what's here? You know what? Here's another, since this story literally made my son do a happy dance. Whatever the reasons I think fans like him and come out on top, they print cash. Who are we talking about? Like him, Kevin Feige or Tom Holland or both? Yeah, I mean, Feige has proven he has the fans' respect because he's delivered, right? He has delivered. There's a lot of people who say, no, Endgame was stupid. No, they delivered a finale. They did hit the landing. It was close enough. It had an ending. He smartly wrapped that up, and now we're starting and planting some new seeds to see what the next garden will be. But yeah, Feige right now, he could fall. No one's too big to fall. But right now he's got all the control and he's smartly doing it collaboratively. And him joining Star Wars is a smart move. You can only go up from where they're at. Jon Favreau, I think, will do a good job with Mandalorian because he's a visionary. He had an idea. He wrote it before he even pitched it to Star Wars. So that's when stuff is usually better. When a smart, creative, good filmmaker comes with a vision, it always works out better. When someone's like forced to write a script about a secondary Marvel character, who cares, right? It doesn't mean it can't still work, but there's a difference. Black Wolf, thank you for the support. Sony needs Spider-Man. Sorry, I just lost your. Sony needs Spider-Man in the MCU to freely advertise their Spider-Verse. It's just good business and politics at the end. Exactly. Yes, I don't think they need it, but I think it helps them. Like I said, anytime Spider-Man's going to make a cameo in a Marvel movie, it's a billboard for come check out the Spider-Man movies. Come check out Venom. Absolutely. So Marvel's thinking they get a win with that. They don't. Marvel wants the character. It just shows how valuable the character is that Marvel is willing to go to town to say, fine, we'll share the wealth. Disney, guys, the most greediest company in the world, is admitting that, okay, we'll share the wealth on this because we want that character. Even though we own that character technically, but we licensed it to you and you now own it, which makes us so mad. Fine, we will split the wealth. Just shows the value of Spider-Man and that Sony is in control and that Disney caved. Disney caved. Sony didn't cave. Disney caved. Even though I think Sony's got their own issues, in this instance, we should all applaud Sony because Disney caved, and I think that's a big deal. Brie Larson as Black Cat. Come on. To wrap up this stream, since I'm giving you a little bit more, this Brie Larson hate, what are we doing? Like, I don't like Captain Marvel. I don't like some of her politics, but come on. Enough is enough. She's not confirmed to be in any movies. She wore Star Wars cosplay. It's just maddening. Those clickbait sites out there, I will die on that hill. Any sites who are going to encourage and pretend like we got this covered and all these other sites out there are news is BS. We can speculate. We can talk about, should Brie Larson be in Star Wars? Amen. Talk about it all day long. I don't care what people talk about, but don't promote clickbait sites. I promise you, I will die on this hill. I will stand against it. Please join this community. I will fight against it when you show it to me and I see the stupid clickbait and hypocrisy out there. I want to call it out for you because I'm just sick of it. There's too much movie sites out there now. How do you know what's real? If we endorse these crappy clickbait sites, not only are we endorsing liars, but we're giving them revenue. And the YouTube algorithm destroys creators like me. They are literally shutting down algorithm buttons that just kill a channel for a week. And that's how I live off this right now because I can't secure work elsewhere yet. I have some opportunities, but my point is I need YouTube revenue to work. I'm not trying to beg and be annoying, but any YouTube creator out there, when you like someone you want and they're doing a stream, super chat them. That's actually what you should do. Drop them a couple bucks. It really helps creators stay on top and be genuine with you and offer and not have to bow down to the Disneys of the world, because we can be honest and we can call them out and we can show that Disney caved, and we can give Sony a point for once, because Sony's been hit a lot with a lot of points negatively. But in this case, Sony wins. So anyway, this Captain Marvel, Brie Larson drama, who cares? She's a good actress. Room, short-term 12. What do we never want her to work again? I just don't want to see Captain Marvel again. Can we agree? Like, yes, Captain Marvel, whatever. It is what it is, but I don't want to see Captain Marvel again. But I don't want to ever blacklist or cancel Brie Larson from acting. I think she's a good actress in dramatic roles. It's just asinine what we do here. So I'm going to fight against that. All right. Any other final thoughts here? I'm trying to see as people make sure I don't read anything too awful. But yeah, I'm trying to see a Sinister Six movie without Spidey is dumb. Agreed. But I think a Sinister Six movie is where we could go. Spider-Gwen film is with me. I agree. I think that one's awesome. We should see that. And I want to see the version from Spider-Verse. I really liked her. I don't see why we can't Roger Rabbit that. Why can't we have the Spider-Verse show up in a live action verse and suddenly make another movie? That's the thing. That's going to be something we haven't seen before. That's going to be cool as hell. It's going to unite both things where we can have animation and live action sort of collaborate. I want that a lot. That to me is something new, fresh, and exciting. And I don't know why. I hope someone at Sony's like, let's keep. And if I'm not alone, you like that idea too. Like, be vocal about it, because they do listen. And this idea that we can't combine a live action and animation world is silly to me. So that's to me what I want. So I want the animated Spider-Verse to continue, but why not have some cool moments where Miles Morales from Spider-Verse drops in and it's a live action actor, and it's like, whoa, where am I? What is this? It's like that Simpsons 3D episode, as I talked about. Anyway, I'm trying to see if anybody else is suggesting. Yeah, there's no one's really pitching decent Craven movie. Sounds dumb. Yeah. Someone is pushing me saying Thor will make $1 billion. If Ragnarok could go, that's the only Avenger movie they have that it's out there. So it could. I guess Black Widow, the movie, could too. I don't think she will. Although there's rumors of Avengers cameoing and stuff, so we'll see what happens. But I don't know. We'll see what that happens. All right, wrapping up. I agree. I'm hyped. I want live action. That sounds cool. Happy about the deal, but I'm still not seeing Venom 2 because of what happened. Why? Because of this drama? Let's give Venom 2 a shot. Now that Sony and Marvel have shaken hands, let's see where it goes. Venom 2 is where it all comes to play. That's where we see, is Sony able to do this on their own, or do they need Marvel? Because Venom was an interesting start, but Venom 2 will define whether it actually was a worthy endeavor. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and see where it goes. And I like Tom Hardy, so we'll see what happens. Space Jam style. Exactly. Come on. Who doesn't want that? Tweet at them. Tweet at Amy Pascal. Tweet at me. Thank you guys so much for watching as I'm wrapping this up. Oh, cool. Got one more comment. Morning, Joe, on me. Thanks for the great content. Oh, thanks, man. I don't know what rubies are. Is that like Zelda money? But hey, I'll take it. Thank you for your support, Vitali. I appreciate that. And thank you all who supported and just tuned in. That's supporting too. I'll be back with more videos today throughout the week. And I may do a live stream Sunday where I'm trying to find the voice in this channel. I want to be more genuine with you guys. And I have some news I'm going to share. So check back Sunday. Please subscribe. Hit that little notification bell if you haven't already. It really helps. And if you see creators, not just mine, any creators you like out there, comment. It means a lot. The engagement and the algorithm of YouTube is brutal. We are up against Jimmy Fallon and Stephen Colbert. These are who YouTube promotes now. Those are the YouTubers that are in the world right now. So they don't care about us little guys, and we want to deliver the news to you in a fun way with our voices and not feel like we have to bow down to the studios. So I don't want to disrespect any studios or disrespect anybody. I just want to have civil, awesome, genuine conversations with you. So thank you for the support. Like I said, please subscribe, comment, like, not just me, any channel you like. We should support all creators. So thank you so much for watching and tuning in. And I will be back with more videos today. Hit me up on social, what you want me to cover, if there's any other issues you saw out there. But this one was too big to not go live and get your conversation. So thanks for joining me. I'll be back soon. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.